So we're here at former Tower Automotive plant, used to be A.O. Smith, and kind of talking about this idea of this perfect storm that hit Milwaukee. With the loss of manufacturing jobs, the growth of poverty and all of the negative components that come along with poverty, and the role that racism has played in that. You know, one of the things that many people in Milwaukee aren't familiar with is how thriving this place used to be. For every American car company for years, and they employed anywhere from 10 to 11,000 people at their peak. But eventually they started to downsize. They were bought up by Tower Automotive, and that deindustrialization that was hitting so many other Rust Belt cities like Pittsburgh and Detroit and Cleveland hit Milwaukee also. And these were the jobs that brought black people to Milwaukee for the most part. These were family supporting wage jobs, but unfortunately the jobs went away, and Milwaukee has never really reinvented itself. It doesn't really know what it is. We know that we used to be, the machine shop of the world, Milwaukee was known as at one time. But now, with all of those jobs gone, people are struggling. The poverty rate has increased, the crime rate has increased, and for most Milwaukeeans, they blame the conditions of the city currently, especially within the African American community, they blame those conditions on the community itself, when they really didn't have much input in terms of what was happening around them. The huge amount of disinvestment that was taking place within the central city that we see here at A.O. Smith and the surrounding neighborhoods, but also just not far from here, the 30th Street corridor, where there were dozens and dozens of small businesses that supported. Those things have a hugely negative impact on the black community in Milwaukee. And so when we think about what the condition is of the community, many people blame the community. They say, well, people don't want to work, people are lazy, things of that nature, not knowing that back when all of these manufacturers were still thriving, that people who wanted to work left Mississippi and Arkansas and Georgia and came to Milwaukee to find quality work. But those types of jobs are not as readily available, especially not in the city. And instead of us blaming the community members for the condition, we need to talk about how we can alleviate some of those ills. How can we use some of this money that's coming in for redevelopment and bring some of that into the black community, the central city, because that's what the residents are asking for. Every time I'm out at community events talking about these issues, they always say, listen, there's billions of dollars being spent downtown. What about us? What about our neighborhoods? And to me, the most important aspect of that is bringing jobs back into the city that are family supporting wage jobs. And so I'm hoping that as we move forward as a city, as our elected officials and other public policy makers in the city begin to analyze what's going on, that they begin to be really proactive in reaching out to the community to ask them about solutions and beginning to put policies in place that really lead to us being similar to what we used to be. We'll never be a manufacturing behemoth like we used to be, because those types of jobs are disappearing all over the world, but we can become a thriving community by reinventing Milwaukee and making it something that it wasn't before. And I think that's something that's well needed.